Alrighty. Bum-ba-dum. Hello, everyone. I hope you had a fantastic Monday. My Monday was stupid busy, but that is okay. Help the day go by. Today is podcast day. I have Dupree here with me. Dupree, hello. I'm shouting him out in my chat. Bum-ba-dum. If you aren't watching him, you should be. He's been playing same thing as me lately, Elden Ring, but he's also a variety streamer. Speaking of Elden Ring, I believe that's what we're gonna start with tonight. Should we start with I think we should actually start with JJK because we have less to say about that. Probably. What do you think? I think you're still, oh, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
Oh,
there we
go. I've been here talking. I forgot I muted myself in Discord.
Oh no! It's like,
oops.
It's gonna be a one-sided podcast. It's cool.
He's the one talking. He's mad. Oh man, yeah. I was saying that the Jujutsu Kaisen is probably better because we won't have as much.
I mean, I could talk about that one for a long time, but I think that one will be faster to get through today, and then move on to Elden Ring. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, we have two exciting, cool things. Season 2, which I was thinking should have been 3, but I was just kidding. We actually got a full season 1, as opposed to the half seasons that they have been doing frequently. So yeah, season 2.
So is it technically season 2 then?
The other one was season 2, because what it was just 2 seasons worth of half seasons. So it was like, but it was 1 season, because lately they've been doing like half season size seasons, so only like 12 to 14 episodes. So I was like, oh, season 2 is right after season 1. That's cool. No, it was just a continuation. So it started in fall and actually ended as part of the winter season. So it was really just 1 season. It was just 20 plus episodes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like season 1 and season 2.
Which is what we call a full season as opposed to a half season.
Yeah. I prefer full seasons. The 20 episode stuff is so much better. I know like a lot of shows, like typical shows are like 10 to 15 episodes for a season, but when I got hooked on Supernatural, they spoiled me with like 20, 23 episodes. It's like, what is this 10 episode? This is half a season. This is not okay.
Right? And same with like a lot of my older anime that I'm into. So like perfect examples like Sailor Moon, or even like Trigun and Dragon Ball Z. Even Dragon Ball Z seasons are like 20 plus episodes.
Yeah, their sagas are crazy long. They have like 200.
You're used to a full, and same with Sailor Moon is like almost 200 episodes. It's 5 seasons of over 20 episodes, however many numbers, and so we're used to like those longer seasons. And I remember the first time I watched like a really short anime, I think it was the original version of Hellsing, which was only 13 episodes, and I was like, what?
This is not a season.
They
what
tend
is
to do 12
this?
to 13 episode seasons because they're considered less dangerous if the season fails. That's a good point, Jackie, but I think we should just live dangerously.
Live dangerously, or have like a multi-planned series. You have it planned to where like after episode 12 you could end it, or if it's going well you continue for the other half.
Right. But yeah, so my brain originally was like, oh, we just got season 2 in the next season. That's so cool. But no, it was actually just a regular sized season. We see them so infrequently.
It was really good though. I liked it a lot.
Yes,
the storyline was really good, and I liked how I always like at each intense fight or each episode that had like something more than just like the background conversation stuff going on, I always was like on the edge of my seat every time.
So Sandwich here in my chat makes another good point. A good chunk of like original Hellsing was made up content, but also you have series that were a full season, like Full Metal Alchemist or the original Fruits Basket. Those were full seasons, and there was very little of that actual manga that were out as well, so a lot of those were made up. So I don't know what the reasoning is, but I like my full seasons. When I don't get them, I'm sad.
Right. That's like Skate Infinity. That's so short, so good.
Yeah, we're hoping to get good things for that though. But yes, so Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, not to be mistaken for what I thought was, I was like
season 3.
No, it's season 2. We are getting sometime next year. They haven't announced what season we're getting it in, but we are getting it in 2023.
That's so far away.
It is, but it's okay.
I don't think I've really watched the I haven't watched the trailer or anything. I just know that it was like announced, and I saw like the Twitter thread or whatever.
I don't think they've done a trailer for season 2 yet. I think they literally just announced that it's going to be next year. Let's see. Ammon says that's actually how Digimon anime started. First 13 episodes were a full arc success, so they continued for like 30 more episodes. See, that's a great idea. They're like, just try it out. We'll see if it works out, and if it does, then boom, we already have a bunch more. Like, that's a great way to do that.
Digimon was awesome.
But however, the movie for Jujutsu Kaisen, we're getting a theatrical release this weekend.
How long is it in theaters for?
I don't know. I'm going this weekend,
I
but I don't
see
know how long. You'll have to see. I'm sure it's got to be playing somewhere near you.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up and see if it's playing or not. Is it in English or is it subtitled?
They have both versions. It depends on which screening you buy.
Okay, I'll have to look and see then, because I know I'll have to see if it's out next Friday. Maybe I'll go next Friday because I have next Friday off.
Mhm.
So maybe I can go check it out.
Where did I get? Here's.
I could probably look it up right. Let me look.
Here's a link for anyone that's curious to see it in your area. This is. Yeah, I actually bought tickets. I just bought tickets for my whole group, and then they just paid me back because we all want to. Obviously, with assigned seating being a thing more often than not in movie theaters these days, we wanted to make sure we were all sitting together. So. There's a group of us going on Saturday. It comes out on Friday, but we're going on Saturday. I have not watched the trailer for it because I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. I have a hard thing with sometimes I watch a trailer because I'm just like so looking forward to it. Copic, hello. It's going. We're talking about the JJK movie and how we're excited. What was I gonna say? I also haven't read, so it's actually based on, I have it, hold on. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's actually based on this volume 0. So this is a prequel volume, and I own it, but I haven't read it yet because I knew the movie was going to be coming out, and I was like, I kind of just want to watch the movie and not know what's going to happen, and then I'll go back and read the manga and see, you know, how close or not close it is. But so it only has.
So you have it playing.
Oh, cool.
At a theater by me, so I'll have to look at it. I'll have to see tomorrow. I'll ask and see if it's something that my girlfriend wants to go to or not, and if not, then maybe I'll just take my kid.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But
there's only one show time for the English dubbed version.
Oh, see, for us it was hard to do that too because we have a couple people in our group that are it's just easier for them to see the dub. So we are also going to the dub, and in our area, it was like, you can go to the subtitled version. No, you can go to the dub version at like 4 o'clock, which is an okay time, but a lot of us don't get off work till, like, we have some people in our group that won't be off till like 4:30, so it's like, ugh. And so it was like 4 or 10 o'clock at night, and we were like, well, I guess we're going 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Luckily,
there's a couple
it's Saturday
times.
night, so it's okay. But
mine's opposite of that. I have 4 o'clock on Saturday for the English, and then there's like 3 times for the dub. Or I mean
the subtitled. I think it's because the majority of people prefer to watch the subtitled version.
I would, yeah. If my kid doesn't want to go at all, then maybe and my girlfriend doesn't want to go.
I'd
then
really like to do both, but we'll see what happens. It's hard for me to. I love going to the movie theater. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I'm so busy. It's really hard for me to do.
It is a lot of fun. I was when we went a month before COVID started, and obviously at the time we didn't know COVID was coming, and then by the time it hit, it was it wasn't here, and then hey, guess what, it's here and you're going home, and then it's everybody stay in lockdown. It's oh man, if I knew this was coming, I would have gone to the movies last week. Right. It's now I can't go, and we didn't go for it was it was about a year and a half before we went for the very first time again to go back, and we've been a few 2 or 3 times over the last 6 months and stuff, but it was so nice to go back and have the popcorn and just hang out and sit in the big theater and the surround sound. It's oh, this is so nice.
So I've literally only seen one movie in the past year and a half. And it was the last anime film that I went and saw in theaters. I saw the Demon Slayer film in theaters last April. So it's literally been almost a year since I went to a movie. There was plenty of movies that came out this past year that I wanted to go see in theaters, but like I said, it's so hard for me to find the time to go to a movie.
Now the movie for this, is it covering more than what we saw in season 1?
So it's not gonna cover anything we saw in season 1 because it's actually a prequel to season 1.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's actually, so it's about, there's a third year. There's a third year that they mention in season 1, but we've never met him. This is actually that's who the movie's about. It's when he's a second year, and the second years that we're familiar with, so the kid with the tuna kid, and Maki and Panda, this is when they're first years, and so it's not gonna have Itadori or any of those first years, because this happens a year before season 1.
So it'll be all new content. That'd be pretty cool. You get prehistory and stuff. I know when I was watching the recap and all that, it reminded me of Itadori and the big muscly guy who he fights in the forest, and how they become best friends, and he's just I don't want to be your friend.
Todo. Besto friendo.
It's the best friendship that got developed in that. He's there fighting him, supposed to kill him, and then all of a sudden he's you're my best friend. You will live forever.
My best friend. Yeah, so good. So good. I love. Oh, it's a good show. I'm really excited to get more. I am not excited for some things to come. I'm not going to say anything more than that, though, because spoilers. But yeah, JJK is really, really good. I'm excited to get more of it. I'm excited to go see the movie. Like I said, my brother, exactly, Jackie. So good. But speaking of anime in theaters, just throwing this out as a little shout out to, so the Studio Ghibli films. I'm wearing one right now, Princess Mononoke. This is tied for my favorite. They're doing, I think it's called Ghibli Fest. So once a month, I think it's Fandango. Anyway, once a month, a lot of major theaters will have 2 or 3 days where they're doing Miyazaki films. And so April, I think it's 3rd, 4th, and 6th, Princess Mononoke is going to be in theaters. And even though I own it, I feel like I need to go watch it because I never got to see Mononoke in theaters, and I really want to go see it.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's so different watching it on the big screen.
Yeah, because I don't think it came out. I don't think it ever came out in theaters here because it was back. It was late. It was 99 or 2000 or something when it came out here. So anime films in theaters were not really a thing.
Not back then,
unless you lived in a huge city, and you'd be lucky if it was like one showing.
You get one, yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
it.
so-
Nowadays, it's like all the things that were super geeky to be into in the
Are
90s
cool
are like the
now.
biggest thing now, and you're like, yes, finally, I've waited my whole life.
It's so good. Like, for real though. And it's so funny because you get some gatekeepers who are like really upset about anime being like anime or even like Dungeons and Dragons being mainstream. And I'm like, why would you be upset about that? It's so much easier to get stuff now. Like, we're talking about when I was, 20 years ago, if I wanted anime merchandise, I pretty much had to get it off of eBay, or like there was a few anime stores online that were kind of reliable.
Right, because back then the internet was like super new, shady, and it's like super iffy on whether you're actually going to get what you paid for or not.
Yep.
And then it's like back then shipping was like a week, 2 weeks. It's like you didn't have all this fast, like easy stuff like we do nowadays.
But now I can go to Walmart and buy like anime t-shirts, and sometimes you'll find figures, and now there's like posters, and I'm like,
you get everything everywhere. It's like it's all there. And plus, with more people being into it now, it makes it that much easier to get sequels and new seasons and everything, because their community is so much larger.
And we get it a lot faster here too. Like, when I first started watching anime, Crunchyroll wasn't a thing. I couldn't watch something as it came out in Japan. I had to wait months in between releases, and those releases we only got like 3 to 4 episodes.
You have no mana.
Yeah, because they take forever. I know that they were almost done with season 5 of My Hero, and they only had like the first like 5 episodes translated. So I was like, I'm tired of waiting. It's been months, and so I just ended up watching the subtitle. I was like, screw it. I'll get used to the voices. It's fine.
Yeah, but speaking of stuff like that. So recently Funimation bought Crunchyroll. And since Crunchyroll had the larger library, Funimation's actually moving all of their stuff over to Crunchyroll.
Oh, really? That'll be huge, because then Funimation is where all the dub stuff is.
Mm-hmm. So now Crunchyroll's gonna have all of the regular, subtitled anime that's coming out with the new season, and then that's also where all the dub stuff is gonna be. They have announced that they're going to finish out the winter season, like the stuff that's being released on Funimation weekly. They're going to finish out the season, but then the spring season, they'll get it totally switched over, and everything new will be coming out on Crunchyroll.
That'll be really cool. I think it's kind of, like, for me, I think it's kind of depending on what I'm in the mood for. Like, if I just want to, like, casually watch something while doing something else, like work or whatever, I need the English version. But, like, if I'm just sitting down to, like, fully watch and, like, get engrossed in something, definitely do subtitle, because like the acting and the voices are just so much better in the original like Japanese, whatever language like that they do it in. And their acting is so much better.
Yeah, and I hate to say that, because like I am a fan of a lot of English voice actors, but usually that is a little bit true. There's more
the emotion and like I just feel like there's like everything is more intense and more meaningful, and like when you hear their voices, it's like they really draw you in, and it's like I get so attached to the character. And it's like when I hear the English, it's like I might get hyped up like in Dragon Ball Z and stuff, but I don't get attached to anybody. Like if somebody dies, it's like, oh, okay, like it's unfortunate. It's like it's whatever. Somebody dies, like when you get like a subtitle and it's like the original, you're like, no, my heart, don't do this to me.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh man,
It seems so real.
I could talk for hours about favorite characters that have died, so I'm not even gonna go there right now. But yeah, so cool. JJK movie happening this weekend.
I'm gonna try to go. I'm gonna talk to my girlfriend tomorrow, so we'll see.
Good night, Ammon. Thanks for stopping by, and happy birthday. It's Ammon's birthday. Give him a happy birthday in chat before he leaves. Last anime movie I saw in theater was My Hero 2 Heroes. Oh, gotcha.
I've never seen an anime movie in theater, so this will be my first.
Pretty hype. It's pretty hype.
It'll be different. I never really, because like I've never known that they did it, and then I remember you talking about the Demon Slayer one, and I never really like checked it out at the time, because one, I've never seen the anime either, so I don't know anything about it. I just know everybody says it's really good, but
you'd probably like that one.
Yeah,
I'm behind. I've only seen season 1, but there's more out now, so I should catch up.
Yeah, there's so much I need to do, like, anime wise. It's just like one of those things where, like, I've been in like a funk with anime where it's like I haven't been in the mood to sit down and like fully like get into it, and it's like, all right, we'll get there. I just need a moment to breathe so I can do it.
I get it. My problem lately has been that I find, like, if I find a show that just blows my mind and like I just attach to and love it, it's literally all I want to watch for like 6 months. So literally, I've watched Modao Zushi like 8 or 9 times all the way through, and I finished the live action on Netflix, and I keep thinking about, I'm like, I have these things that I want to watch, and I sit down and I go to watch them, and I'm like, but I could be watching Modao Zushi right now.
I wonder if that's why I haven't really picked up. Like, I always pause for so long because it's like I have a plan to watch this new one, and it's like, I don't really want to watch it, and then it's like I kind of not watch anything until I want to watch that one. But maybe like if I just rewatched something else, maybe I'd be there. It's kind of how I feel with the game releases. We had Horizon, and then Elden Ring, and then Stranger's Paradise. It's like too many things all at once and they're all really big games too. I never expected Elden Ring to be as large as it was. I thought it was just going to be like your typical Souls game, like 30-60 hours. Like, no, it's massive. I'm like, oh my god, I cannot. Every time the map expands, I'm just like, what the heck? I thought I had a grasp on this thing. No, I don't.
Right? It's so ginormous, which is why I keep telling everyone, I'm like, I have Stranger of Paradise, but we won't be playing it on release because
it's gonna
Elden
be
Ring.
It's really good too. Like, I love Elden Ring. It's a good game, but it's just so massive.
Yeah, and that's actually a perfect segue into the other thing that we wanted to talk about tonight was our thoughts. Our thoughts so far on Elden Ring. It has been out for almost 3 weeks now, right? 3 weeks. Anyway, it's been out for 3.5.
Like 2 weeks.
2.5.
Because it came out, what, the 20th? So one...
Okay, so 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, like 2.5.
It'll be 3 weeks this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone keeps asking me this. So what do you think so far? And I'm like, part of me, I feel like this I'm really not the person to ask about stuff like this sometimes, because I'm like, it's good. I mean, it's like, it's really like any other Souls game, other than like, there's a couple quality of life things that I really like about it. Like, when I'm running to different places on the map, my endurance doesn't, like, my stamina doesn't deplete when I'm just running from place to place.
Yeah. It took me like probably 4 or 5 days to stop. Like, I got so like muscle memory when I was running in Souls games. Like, I would hold down circle, run, and then my thumb would just pop up
wait for
like
a
5 seconds,
and then run
and then push my thumb back down. So when I was starting, I was like pressing, and then after like 10 seconds, my thumb would lift up, and then it would press back down. And I'm like, I started noticing that the stamina wasn't even doing anything unless I was near enemies, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna take a second.
Right. Once I figured it out, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Like, I can just
and they're like, here's a horse.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, and I couldn't imagine running around this map.
Right?
Without the horse, I would just teleport everywhere. I would only run to somewhere one time and never again. It would be horrible.
I also love the fast travel system, like, so much in this game.
Yeah, I do too, especially like as the map gets bigger and stuff. Depending, like, if I want to run around in the general area I'm in, I'll probably just ride the horse there. But like, if I'm going from one section to another, like, I'm teleporting.
Right,
like,
it's
guaranteed I'm gonna teleport. And especially because like there's like so many hidden like tunnels and caves and sections, and you run under this mountain, but then you pop into another section, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, it's so easy to miss things. I just went back to this area that you start in yesterday, and I found like 4 more tunnels that I had never found, and I'm like, what the, I spent like 15 hours in this area, how did I miss this? I'm like, what the heck? It's crazy.
That's a good question, Jackie. Jackie says, do you know if a magic build is viable in Elden Ring? I'm gonna say, I mean, from what I've heard, yes.
Yeah, it's like the other Souls games. When you start out, you you'll be a mix between a sword and magic because you're not gonna have a lot of FP and you're not gonna have a lot of powerful spells. But as you level up and you start putting into your intelligence and then you start gathering a few spells here or there, magic gets crazy overpowered to where people are like one and two shotting like mid end game bosses. Like you can
Whoa.
like the magic is ridiculously strong, especially and then when you shoot like there's moves like one that I saw, it's like a Kamehameha wave that shoots like halfway across the map and you can be like probably 200-300 feet away from an enemy and just as long as you're aiming in there the right like pathway you're gonna hit them and you can hit them the whole time they're running at you
Oh my
with this
gosh.
thing and then if you get like items and a couple of equipables that you can do that regenerate your FP gradually over time, you can non-stop do magic and you'll never run out of FP. It's like an infinite FP item in booster, and you can
Wow.
just cast for like 30 seconds to a minute straight, and you can just completely annihilate people. So it's definitely magic is crazy and some of the new stuff that they've added in spell wise like I've never really done a magic build before but I'm pretty excited to test out some
To maybe
magic
try
and
it.
yeah.
Jackie says, "Is there a best starting class in game?" I don't know because I haven't watched enough people play yet, and I'm obviously still in my first class. I started with the samurai. I feel
It
like it was a
depends
pretty
on
good
yeah.
start, but it also depends on the kind of build that you're going for because each class has
Yeah.
different stats. So if you're going for like if you're going for like a magic build, you're definitely going to want one of the classes that has like the higher what is magic's built off of
The intelligence the int
like the
uh,
intelligence and faith usually depending on the
um
spell question mark.
the
I don't ever do spell builds. I always
so
go melee.
if you're
So
gonna do like if you're looking for like the magic base then you're gonna want your int and your mind because your mind is
mind.
FP and
Mind.
then your int is your magic. Faith is separate spells, a separate class from magic. You have the faith incantations, and then you've also got arcane, which I'm not. It's another magic class mixed in. I'm not exactly sure what stuff. I haven't really looked at that one too much.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like a best starting class, like you said, it depends on what you're wanting to go for. I would say don't pick I think it's the hero, the strength class. I started with it and it's complete crap. They like debuffed the crap out of the strength build. So I've been
Oh.
struggling like recently I'm doing more better, but in the beginning I was having a lot of trouble with it. And then the samurai, the dex build is really good. I absolutely love dex. They like buff the crap out of bleed in this game, and then
Yes.
um, if you're if you're wanting a magic or if like just an overall balance, I know that it's a level one, but the wretch is actually when you think about it, you get straight tens across every stat. So you're starting out to
Fully balanced.
like a medium like level on all of them. None of your stuff is under 10, so there's nothing like that you're gonna have to like on one of my things for when I was trying to use a faith spell, it needed like 12 or 13 intelligence, and my intelligence started at like 8, so I had to put a ton into it. And then when you're when you're leveling up, your first 10 levels, you're not going to have as many runes because you're starting way down. So your first 10 levels are going to be a lot cheaper than what my first 10 levels were when I'm starting at like level 10 or 12. So
Makes
I feel
sense.
like you're gonna be able to level. You're gonna be start out more balanced, and then your first 10 levels are gonna be super cheap. So you can pump those 10 levels into like straight magic or health, or 5 into 4, like whatever you want, and it makes it a lot easier if you're looking for like a balanced class and you're not quite sure. And it'll give you a good starting point to do like if you're looking for magic, then you can split between like health, mind, endurance, and intelligence, and it gives you a good overall balance, and you should become overpowered pretty quick.
Nice. Yeah, I started with the samurai, and I feel like it was a pretty good starting class. I was feeling, and this could have been just me not grinding enough, but I did feel a little under-leveled for the first couple of plot bosses, but that could also just be I'm pretty mediocre at these games. So
because you fought the Margit, right?
yeah. I fought him, and then I just beat
Was it the Shard Bearer?
Godric. I was like,
Godric
no,
the
not.
Graphic.
I wanted to say Godfrey. I was like, no, not Godfrey. Godric. Yeah, I just beat him.
Godric. What level were you when you were fighting him?
32 when I fought him.
Okay, so I was around the same level. I felt kind of under leveled too. I've seen people go in with a lower level than that. And a lot of them, if you parry, it seems like they have a lot easier time parrying. And that seems like the key difference between that and just being really good at dodging, which this game is horrible with every enemy and boss having delayed attacks, and my brain does not function with delayed attacks. Like, I see a delayed attack and I just start panic rolling. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I get it.
Yeah, I can't handle it. It's horrible. That's my biggest struggle with this game is how many attacks are delayed, and I don't know how to function with the delayed attacks, and it's like I have to either just like get lucky, or I really have to like buckle down and focus and see like, okay, what trigger body movement does the enemy give that's telling me, okay, this is when the attack's gonna come. But that can take so long when they have like 10 plus moves, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be a little bit. It's like, you know what, screw it, summon.
Yeah, that's why I mean, it always takes me like 2 to 3 hours. But that's why the first few bosses I have fought have taken me 2 to 3 hours apiece. But the cool thing is it's been really rewarding as far as like I look at myself at the beginning, like when I first start fighting the boss, and I'm finally like after playing Souls games for a few years now, I've finally reached a point where I'm starting to like recognize moves and like I'm like, oh, okay, this is the move set that's coming up, and so this is what I need to do. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I should be doing. I ended up like I kind of ruined myself by when I fought Margaret. I ended up summoning the wolves and going in and fighting with them, and then it took me like 3 tries, and I ended up beating them instantly after struggling for like over an hour. And now it's like I'll go in and fight a boss, and if I get annoyed or I feel like it's unfair, like especially like the when there's 2 bosses at the same time, I'm like, you know what, I'm like, screw the multi-boss, I'm summoning, forget it. And then I summon, and then it's like I'll beat the boss within like 30 minutes or less, and it's like, or a couple tries, and it's like summoning makes it too easy, but I also can kind of like casually stroll through the game and have fun at the same time without that like Souls aggravation of like get good.
You don't want it to be frustrating.
Yeah, and so it's like I definitely think when I do my second playthrough, I won't be summoning at all, and that's when I'll like really be digging into like study the boss moves and enemy moves and learn them completely, so that way like I go back to the original Souls of like understanding what I'm fighting and not just like running and swinging and hoping for the best with some summons helping me. It's like I just want to kill you, go away.
So Jackie has another question. What is one thing you would recommend new players do to have a smooth game experience in the game? That's a good question.
If you're struggling with something like early game, like right when you come out the gates, it kind of throws an enemy at you to show you like, hey, like you're not going to win, you're going to lose, and you're going to get beat down a lot. Don't be afraid to just skip it and come back to it later. There's a lot of things that you have to skip and come back to later after you've leveled and gone through. Other than that, I would say make sure that you level your health and your endurance. Because I didn't do that right away. I got my strength and my dex up to 28 and 24, and I still had like 15 or 14 health and endurance, and it was I was struggling. I was getting one shot, two shot by almost everything, and my endurance. I could swing like two or three times, and then I would have to. I couldn't even roll. It's like two, three. It's like two swings in a roll, and back out. So definitely, I would say do health, endurance, and then do your strength or dex or whatever your build is going to be based on. Um, but yeah, get more health, get more endurance, and don't be afraid to leave something and come back to it.
I think I definitely have to agree with that, especially with the health and endurance, just across Souls games in general, in my experience, because, like, especially endurance, because, you know, that's what your rolls are going to be based on, and your attacks are going to be based on as far as how many you can do in a combo. So yeah, I always do health, endurance, and then I go, like, strength, dex, or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, it's always strength and dex, or whatever.
Yeah, and it also depends too if you're planning on using like a heavy weapon, like a great sword or two-handed, like heavy, or if you're just gonna use like a straight sword, like a smaller one or a club. Because if you're gonna use a small weapon, then you don't need to concentrate on your endurance quite as much because your DPS will be better. But if you're gonna go a heavy weapon, then definitely you got to pump a lot into endurance for sure.
Yeah, and I've noticed that that's really common for myself. Like, I don't think I've ever done a playthrough with a light weapon on any Dark Souls
I always
game.
find, like, I'm always looking for some like crazy cool great sword, like whatever I can get. And like I think it was Dark Souls 1 or 3, they had the great sword that was just like that flat gray that looked like Cloud Sword.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my sword
Yep,
the whole time.
that was
I
3.
can't get it
That's
out.
what I used. As soon as I got it, I was like, this is my sword now.
Yep, this is it. This is all I will ever do. And anytime I played after that, if I did another new game, I always went to get that sword first. I was like, I'm getting there as quick as I can because I want to use this as long as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was so funny because, like, especially, like, even on my first playthrough of Dark Souls 3, I would have people come into chat and they're like, why are you using such a heavy weapon for your first playthrough? And I was like, because this is what I chose to use. And they're like, that makes learning bosses really hard because you have to learn a totally different timing. And I was like, yep, well, there it is.
Like, I just gotta learn, like, you gotta learn different timing, but you really, like, dial in on when they're opening, where their openings are, and what you can and can't do. Because it's like, I know I have, like, a good solid 5 seconds to get 2 slow swings in.
Yeah. But yeah, because, like, right now, I'm really focused on, so that one boss that had, like, the really cool, long, kind of wavy curved sword, he's got hound.
Oh, the Forlorn, it's the Forlorn Hound,
Yeah.
like, Aerotol or whatever,
Yeah,
the jail.
I'm using his sword.
Ever since I beat him, I've used his sword too. I have it up to like a +6 right now, and the only reason it's not higher than that is because I can't find the item I need to do it.
You're like, ugh. Pretty sure mine's 5 or 6 now too.
Yeah, I have. I found a place that the white stone that you need for it. I got +4s, +5s, and then I got a +6. And then I was in this new area yesterday, and I found a +8, which is the first +8 I had ever found. But I need +7. I'm like, dang it! I don't need 8. I need 7. Where is the 7?
You would think it would let you take, like, you would hope it would let you take, like, a higher one and let it
like,
work as a lower one. But falling asleep, have a great. Oh, no worries, Jackie. Have a great night. Sleep well. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, like, I don't know. It doesn't feel. I guess maybe I don't. Maybe I just don't play Souls games often enough for it to feel super more amazing than, like, Dark Souls 3. But I mean, I am enjoying it.
I think for me,
just like it's a game.
I would say it's definitely massively different because I feel like they took Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and took pieces of each, put them all into one game, and then the open world is just
that part is very different.
Yeah, it's so massive. And then for them to mix and match the difficulty of the enemies, and you start out at the very beginning of the game, you have a boss that is definitely, like, people like Kay Whitty, he spent like 2-3 hours trying to beat it without the horse, and he got it, he did it. But if somebody like him takes 2-3 hours and he did play the the network test or whatever. So it's like he already had experience with it. It's like if it takes him that long, imagine somebody like you and me who are just like, oh, I'm nowhere near that level of good. It's like I'm just casually strolling here. It's so difficult, but like I love how they mix and match where they put enemies. I do feel like they start you out a little under leveled for stuff because it's like they throw you in, you have that first thing, and then they put another. Have you explored that lake that's right by the starting area?
I think I've been over there for a little bit. Yeah, is it? I think I've been over there.
Did you see what the big enemy was over there? Did you run into that yet?
The big enemy. I'm not sure because I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the same lake. The lake I'm thinking of. There's like a boat guy. I haven't fought him yet though.
Okay. No, I don't think we're talking about the same one. Okay. So like when you walk out the when you come out from underground and then you go up and you open the first door and you see the big tree and all that, to the right, like if you go forward and to the right, there's a big lake area down there.
Okay.
So I don't want to say what's in there.
Okay.
You don't know what it is yet. But so it's like there's things there, and then you know, over by where you get the first map, and you get the maiden and all that, and then there's the big troll when you go up under the like in that archway, and that troll jumps down, and there's all the archers and stuff, like right there, like that. Early game stuff, it's like you're supposed to go through there because obviously that's where the castle is and everything, but like getting through that, I was so annoyed fighting that guy, and then to find out he comes back every time. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, this is like a boss right now. Oh my god. After that, I was like, nope, I'm getting on my horse and I'm just sprinting by you. I will never fight you again. Because it was so difficult. It was so hard. Even fighting those giants just by themselves without dealing with the archer was an accomplishment that early in the game. And it's like, now I go back there at the level I am now and I'm killing that guy in like 4 hits, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, okay, this is what I wish the beginning of the game was like, because they definitely throw some really hard things at you and kind of like really knock you down a peg or two going into it. And Margaret is that he is quick and extremely aggressive. Like the further in the fight you get, the more aggressive he gets.
Yes.
And it was hard for me. I like even being, and I don't know if it was just because I had been like going easy mode on games for so long since I stopped playing Bloodborne that maybe I just wasn't prepared for a Souls game. Because I feel like now that I've been doing the game I've been doing it for like 50 hours. It's like now I feel like I can dodge and I can attack and I can take on enemies and people who are a little too hard for me. I'm like, I could do this. Just let me practice a little bit. And it's like, now I feel like I'm more in the swing of things, but it's definitely a different beast of a game. And then you get like full on mobs of enemies where you have like 10-15 people coming swinging at you, and it's like, oh my god,
I hate mobs. I'm like,
yeah. And when I see that, it's like my only assumption is they put this in here because they want you to sneak around and stealthily take people out, or it's their way of saying, hey, this isn't a typical Souls game, don't be like, you can't summon, that's cheesing the game, the toxic Souls people and all that stuff. It's like, we put summons in the game for a reason, for things like this, for dual bosses, that when you have 2 bosses that are overly aggressive, you're going to either be an elitist like Kwitty, who is just too good at the game and he can handle it, or you're going to be people like me who it's like, okay, I need to summon because I will be here for 20 hours and maybe squeeze through on this boss if I'm lucky.
Right. Yeah, I see, and I'm so weird because like I've never summoned like an NPC character, but I'm cool with like the little spirit summons that they give us that just cost the FP. I'm like, yeah, sure, bing, sure, bring out my jellyfish. That's fine because it's a good distraction.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'll summon. I've never summoned NPCs or anything like that.
And it's not
always just
like, I don't mind people who do, like, more power to you if that's how you enjoy the game. go for it. But I don't know. It's like a personal challenge. I'm like, no, I want to beat it. Me.
Yeah. I want to do it myself, because if I summon someone else, I feel like I'm just cheating myself, and it's not the same. I want to make sure that I do it on my own, and I feel like doing even like I feel like part of me doesn't want to use the spirit summons, just because like it's almost like an NPC summon in a way for me, and I'm like, oh god, am I cheating? Am I not cheating? I'm like, they put it in the game, I just need to feel okay about it. Like, it's there, it's meant to be there. Like, I can use it this time around, have fun, enjoy the game thoroughly. I can do the grind mode on my second playthrough and like ban summons.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to watching like speedruns for this one, just because it's such a massive game. I'm interested to see the different categories that come out of it, because while I don't speedrun, I do really enjoy watching other people do it. So I'm looking forward to
I love watching people speedrun, and especially like because with the amount for any percent bosses, I think the speedrun will be really interesting, and it'll be super interesting to see how the bosses are handled with minimal levels, because when you're only doing story and you're just rushing through it, you're not going to have a ton of levels. So it's like, I can't imagine doing an end game boss in this being like level 30 or less, or maybe 40. It's like, I don't know, you'd have to be really, really good at the game, I feel like, unless there's like some super cheese strats and stuff, which like I'm hoping that they do an any percent like glitch list, because I don't really care for glitches where like there's one where it's an end game boss, and you can go start the fight, die, and then you can glitch jump over a wall into the arena, and the boss will never trigger because you don't hit the fog wall. And so he just stands there, and you can just swing away at him. He'll never attack you. He won't move. And if you get this one item that gives you an additional 20% souls, and then you can pop an item that gives you another 30%. Once you kill him, he'll give you like 600,000 runes, and you don't even have to fight him. And this guy, he's an end game boss. Like, he's got a lot of health. You're gonna be sitting there for a bit, and it's like you could literally get to him at the beginning of the game, do this glitch, and start the game with 600,000 runes. It's like things like that. I'm just like, you're breaking the game a little too much.
Yeah, so glitchless runs are definitely my favorite runs as far as like sheer skill. But like when you get glitched runs like that, though, it's like it's really wild to watch people figure that kind of stuff out. Like, could you imagine just like running through the game, like just playing with stuff and like probably dying over and over trying to figure these things out, and just like, I wonder if I can do this.
Like, can I get here? Can I get there? Can I break this in the game? And it's super cool. I saw somebody doing it with Sekiro, where they put the game in like a debug mode, and it like gave them like a full-on like 3D mesh render of the game, and where the hitboxes were and what wasn't a hitbox, and like if they went out of the map, where was there still a grid that they could stand on, or where they would fall, and where there was water underneath the map, even though like you're underground. Like, watching that breakdown of it was super interesting. I'd never seen something like that before. Usually I just see somebody jumping at a wall for an hour until they glitch through it somehow, and it's like, oh, cool.
Right? It's like, oh, there's the magic spot, and it's like you literally just are throwing yourselves at a spot till you figure it out.
Yeah, it's super interesting to watch that stuff.
It's pretty crazy. But I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm going to be playing it forever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
so long.
Every time I felt like when you first originally start out, you see the little square of the map and all the black space around it, and you're like, okay, the map's got to get bigger. They're not just going to have all this black space for nothing when I can zoom in and out. And it's like, I got comfortable with the first area, and I went to the next, and I'm like, okay, it got a little bigger. That's not bad. And then it got a little bigger and a little bigger, and I'm like, stop getting bigger.
Like, oh my gosh.
Like every time, and it's like each area is so massive, and it's like some of the areas are bigger than the first one, and it's like, man, every time I think I'm getting the grasp on the game, I go right back into overwhelmed, and like my heart's racing and I'm panicking, and I'm like, I don't know where do I go, where do I don't know what to do. I'm like, this is too much. Oh my, it's just overload so bad. And like I'm semi getting a grasp on the full size of the game right now, but like I'm 50 hours in, and I'm still finding things in the first area 3-4 areas ago that I never found. And it's like, this game, I probably will play it 150-200 hours before I actually find all the caves and bosses and actually beat the end game boss and get to that point. Like some of the things, it's so big and it's so crazy, and I'm sure like I'll probably cut that time in half on like the second playthrough, because there will probably be a lot of dungeons that I just don't go into. But like it's really good, really big, overwhelming. But like I think it's crazy that there's other game devs, like the Horizon game devs, released a video complaining about how Elden Ring doesn't give you a tutorial, and it doesn't give you any map markers, or you don't know where this is. It doesn't tell you anything about its quests, or you pick up a quest, but then where do you go for that quest? And it's like, one, you don't understand Souls games, obviously, and two, are you mad because this just set the bar so high for all RPG open world games going forward, and you realize that your game can't compete with a game of this size, and you're gonna have to put out 10 times the amount of effort to match what this game is, and now you're like, great, now we can't just pop out a little dinky game. It's like, no, you need to put in the time and effort like they did back when like Final Fantasy 7 and 8 came out. Like big, large, complete games. Don't give me a half-made game and then patch it the first like 6 months of it being released because you weren't done developing it. It's like, no, release a finished game, a large game that you put real content into, that means something and that has substance, and not just this formula nonsense that you've been doing. Like the bar just got bumped up so much, and I'm so glad. And I loved that Miyazaki said that this game will have a huge influence on their games going forward too. So it's like I feel like Elden Ring is going to change the way games are made going forward by a big amount. And I've been telling people I'm shocked that they only charged $70 for the game, because I would have honestly paid like 120, 150 bucks for this game and been more than happy with the amount of content. I'm kidding. It would have been easy.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just it's I know a guy that just beat it this last weekend, and it took him 96 hours, and I don't think he like 100%ed it or anything. It was just like, he's like, I beat it, and now I'm just gonna start over and play a different class.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
I was thinking about like, so my first Souls game was Bloodborne, and my first playthrough took me 80 hours of that. Like, you know, a game that if you're decent at it, you can casually beat it in, you know, quickly in like one sitting. But, you know, the reason that took me so long is because it was my first game of that style, and, you know, a lot of the bosses took me a long time. And
it's a tough game. It's a fast-paced game.
I played it late enough that the DLC was out, so my first playthrough, I did all content, all DLC, all bosses. And
did you do all the chalices too?
No, I still haven't even done all the chalices, because I'm like,
I've never stepped foot in them. I didn't even know how to get into them.
Like, I've watched other people. I tried, so I did get into the first chalice dungeon, first couple. I've done the first couple chalice dungeons, and I'm like, you know what? This is like not enjoyable. Like, some of them are so difficult that it's just like, this is no longer fun for me. Like, I don't mind difficulty, but like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, and they've taken some of the hardest bosses from the game, and they've put chalice dungeon versions in those, and they're even more difficult, and I'm just like, no thanks.
Yeah, I heard that those were like the bosses that got scrapped from the game just because they thought that they were too hard. And I heard that the Chalice dungeon layout is almost identical throughout each with like slight differences here and there, but the majority of it is pretty much just a reskin over reskin over reskin, and it gets
Yeah.
really repetitive, but getting to the boss is like the only good part, and it's like I've heard how difficult it is, and I struggled in the DLC a ton by the time I finally did it, and it's like, oh man, I don't know if I could handle even harder than this.
Yeah.
And I'd have to level like I did the DLC, and I mean, I guess I did it under leveled, but like even if I'd have to go through the whole game to level a character to blindly struggle, and I don't know if I want to do blindly struggle on reskin dungeon after dungeon.
Right, yeah. It's I do watch a streamer who every now and then he does speed runs that are literally all achievements. So it's literally 100%ing the game every time. Which includes doing Chalice dungeons, and it's like a 5.5 hour speed run. Like, it's not short, because if you're doing all achievements, you're literally playing the game several times, because you have to get the different endings, and then you also have to do the Chalice dungeons, and it's just like, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's crazy. Bloodborne was really good though, and I think Elden Ring is definitely one that you can play multiple times and have multiple playthroughs just because it offers so much. They have so many new spells and things and all that, and it's really cool. I think with how like drastic and how deep the leveling gets, I don't know if like New Game Plus is really worth it, because you'll need so many. Like, I'm level like 87 or 88, and I need almost like 50,000 runes to level right now. So it's like going into a new game when I'm going to be probably level 100 plus, needing like 60, 70 plus thousand. Like, I probably would rather just restart and specifically only level like magic only, and don't like arcane only, and do just that class, and not a balanced character like I'm doing right now.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what... I will be interested to see what New Game Plus offers, but yeah, same. Like, I'm kind of with all of them. If I'm going to sit down to play, I actually just start a new game, like, every
just start over. The only game that I've ever played a New Game Plus in is Sekiro, and I did it to get the 4 endings, and I just played the 4 New Game Pluses. But outside of that, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne, I've never gone past New Game. I just always restart over, so I have no idea what the New Game Pluses are like. All I know is that Bloodborne, supposedly their New Game Plus, the very first one, the difficulty increase is like ridiculously hard compared to the others. Like, it's like Bloodborne increases by like 50%, while everything else is like 20% in like Dark Souls 1 and 3 and all that. And it's like, I couldn't imagine that game being 50% harder on like Amelia or one of the crazy ones. It's like, are you kidding? No.
So I actually did, so Bloodborne is the only one that I've done New Game Plus, and I just did New Game Plus 1, like first New Game Plus. I haven't gone beyond that. I do have a file that is New Game Plus, and I am stuck at, I'm in the DLC, and I'm stuck at Ludwig, because in New Game Plus, he's just...
He is...
I mean, he's hard anyway, but like...
I got stuck on him for like 13, 14 hours trying to beat him.
I think it took me 12 hours to beat him the first time, but my longest standing Soulsborne boss still to this day is Lawrence.
I think that's everybody's.
Yeah.
Lawrence and Maria were the most difficult ones, and it like Lawrence is by far worse than Maria. Because he has so many move sets and everything. I ended up using a no-hit strat to cheese him because I got so annoyed. I was like, there's no way. It will take me probably 100 plus hours to learn his move set. I was like, this is insane. I'm done. I'm not doing it. It was like 20 hours.
It was like
no.
literally just, I think the one round I beat him was literally just luck of the draw. Like, it just happened. I was like, woo! I definitely didn't learn any moves. I was just like, get out of the way.
Run for my life.
Like,
Yeah,
oh
I'll
gosh.
probably never fight him again ever. He is a boss that literally ruins a game for me.
I got to him one more time in a different playthrough because I decided I was gonna do a threaded cane playthrough. And that's actually where I'm stuck. Is I'm between, it's like I can go fight Lawrence or I can go fight Orphan. And I can't beat either
Orphan
of them.
Orphan's no better.
So-
Orphan is just as bad.
So I just kind of called that. I was like, do I just go back to the main game, let Garmin kill me, and call it done?
Like, I can win right now. I just sacrificed my life. It's fine.
Right?
Like, I can say I completed it.
Cool. Well, I think we'll go ahead and end there because we're keeping you up late. Mr. has to go to bed because workouts.
It's getting there. I know. I feel. Oh God. What the. That scared the crap out of me. Holy shit.
Whoa! I
It's
heard
still
that.
going. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure that was thunder. That was.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Whew.
Like heard that.
I ain't
over
going to
here.
sleep now. Oh my God.
Heart's pumping. Like, oh.
Oh my gosh. I hate I have a clip on my channel of when one of the power big white boxes blew out in my complex. It was just as loud as that.
Oh, man.
It made me drum so bad. Oh,
I know my chat heard it. They're like, "Whoa!"
That was something else. Holy cow.
Cool.
All
Well,
right.
on that note, we'll go ahead and end our portion there. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll be back in 2 weeks because we should have our regular time.
Yeah. And that's going to be the 28th, right?
Yes, the 28th. And we'll talk about what we want to talk about. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll discuss what we want to talk about.
Yeah. All
Alright,
right.
cool.
You
Have a great night.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye. Remember,
Bye.
guys, give Dupree a follow.
Thank you. I'll give you a shout out too.
Alright. And I'm just going to take a quick break. I'm going to use the restroom, and then I'm going to hop on to Elden Ring. So I'll see you guys all in a bit. Bye, Dupree.